Welcome to Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me this evening. Boy, was this a rocky road tonight. Rebooted the phone and it still didn't work, and then finally it did. So here I am, finally live. Just waiting for it to show up on my laptop so that I know I truly am live and that everything's working okay. There, oops, yep, here we go. All right. So let me move some of this out of the way. Kind of an interesting project tonight. I am going to be using May's Club Couture transfer called Lemonade Stand. This is it. And it's an 8.5 by 11 inch transfer, exclusive to designers and club members. Why am I not surprised? I just knocked a bunch of things over. And it comes with 3 individual paste packets. Bumblebee, Storm, which is gray, and Meadow, which is green. And this lovely little package comes to you for $19.99 a month, free shipping. It arrives on your doorstep, and think of it as an hour or so to get away, enjoy some fun crafting time, exercise your creativity, and enjoy yourself for an hour or so. Our transfers are reusable, so after you make something for yourself, you can make something for a friend, make something for a neighbor, make a gift, whatever. And I have already used this one day last week, and I'm going to put a little bit of a different spin on it tonight using our simple shapes. And I think I'm going to use the rectangle, maybe the circle, definitely the square. I think that's it. We'll see how things go. I've got a couple different ideas up my sleeve, and oops, let's see if I've got my tags over here. Maybe a tag. Kind of see what's on tap and how it goes and whatever. It's kind of the whole thing about being creative and just letting yourself spend some time meandering or doing whatever. You never know what ideas might occur to you and what your end result might be. It's kind of the creative process. You know, having a little fun and creating something is a nice outlet. It can be very relaxing, very soothing. It also helps you think outside of the box and look at things from a different perspective. So don't think, oh, that's creative stuff. I'm a logical person. I don't want to have anything to do with that. It really does make a difference in your thinking ability and your ability to come up with different resolutions and think outside of the box. So because I'm going to be using our simple shapes, these are like MDF that have been whitewashed. I am going to wax them for a couple different reasons. One, I want to make sure that none of the paint or the whitewash or any of the wood or any splinters come off onto the back of my transfer, because our transfers are adhesive backed and they're reusable 8 to 12 times or more. So I want to protect my transfers from any impurities in the wood or whatever in the surface. I also want to put a barrier on the surface so that if I make a mistake, I can wipe it off and clean it up if I catch it quickly before the pigment is actually absorbed into the wood. And then the third reason is to make the surface a little bit smoother. Let the wax go into those little crevices or uneven areas and smooth them out so that there's less chance of my chalk paste bleeding or whatever. Generally, I don't see that as much of an issue, but every now and then on a found surface, I find that there might be a little feathering, if you will, because of the unevenness of the surface. So I'm just applying a little bit of our surface wax. And once I have my surface covered, with my little applicator. I'm turning it over, and then I'm kind of like buffing it out. It's just kind of taking off the excess, letting it fill any of those little crevices that might be there. You know how that is sometimes when you paint something too or sand it, it's not totally smooth, and this helps smooth it out and makes it easier to work with. Occasionally I've forgotten to wax things, and I haven't really had any disastrous results, but this just kind of gives you an extra little edge in case something goes south or you have some kind of a problem. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line, let me know where you're viewing from. We had a really nice day weather-wise, minus the rain of course, but temps were about 75 degrees, which was nice, which is what I think of normally as spring temps instead of these 90s that we've had. We've juggled around or mixed around from the 90s to the 80s to the 60s to the 40s at night, back up to the high 80s. It's just been a roller coaster ride this spring, and it actually to the point where I was thinking, are we really ever going to have any spring? I mean, it's either too cold or too hot. So I think we're going to get a little piece of spring the next week or two. Long overdue. So I think I'm going to do 3 of these pieces, and we'll see if I use all 3 or not. It doesn't hurt to wax them in advance. And obviously they're double-sided, but I'm only going to do one side tonight. I've got a couple specific ideas in mind of how I want to use this transfer. I did use it on a found surface, the entire transfer, but I left off the border because my surface was, I think, a little bit taller, so my border wouldn't have been equidistant from the edges of the frame or whatever. So I just left off the border and chalked what I wanted, and you could do that. You could use part of our transfer, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use different pieces of it on different surfaces this evening, and know that you could also do that. I like making things look a little bit different and giving my creative people a couple different options or ideas for how to use Club Couture. It's so much fun, and if you find that you really don't have a lot of time, it's really the perfect solution. You just have to actually make a little bit of time for yourself. Give that as a gift to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It helps in taking care of yourself. I've been a little lax with that lately myself and realized that not having that time to be creative and to just kind of relax a little bit was taking a toll. I was just, you know, we deal with stress in different ways, but I was inordinately tired. Or let's be honest, I was exhausted. And I think without that little bit of creative outlet, it was just harder to handle things. So this gives me a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of peace, a little bit of fun. And truly with Chalk Couture, it's so easy to create projects. It truly, truly is. They're simple. The transfers are made out of vinyl and silkscreen, and the silkscreen, you're seeing through it to the white of the carrier sheet behind it. The silkscreen gives you such a beautiful high definition on your surface. It's awesome. I'm going to use the Bumblebee paste pack. It's somewhere around here, my jar of Bumblebee rolled off. Let's see if I've got it stacked with all my jars back here. No, I don't. I'm still in the middle. I'm in flux in between, well, my craft room. I just haven't been able to, I haven't had the time to actually get it organized. And so I have some things in there and some things on rolling carts and some things in a cabinet, and it's just making me crazy. I really need to take the time to do what I need to do with it and hopefully get back to using that for my lives. Hopefully soon. So I'm going to take this transfer and fuzz it, and this is my fuzzing towel, and it allows me to put a little bit of lint. You can see our back of our transfers are sticky. and they're shiny. I'm going to put a little bit of lint on the back of this transfer so that it does not stick so snugly. Our carrier sheet has one side that's kind of like freezer paper, it's shiny, and the other side is dull. I like putting the name of my transfer on the dull side, so that's a little reminder when I have cleaned my transfer. When we clean it, we let it dry sticky side up, and when I go to put my backer back on, I don't want to inadvertently put the dull side. I want to put the shiny side with that waxy kind of finish on it, so that when I store it, it doesn't get stuck to anything else. So just a little reminder that be careful with your carrier sheet and make sure you put it on properly. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the large rectangle first. Why not, right? Let's go with the largest project. And I'm just going to kind of center this here. I'm not quite sure all of what I want on this yet. I'm going to do a little bit of playing around and a little bit of creating on the fly, because I truly don't know what I want on this. I know that I'm going to do the lemonade in Bumblebee, and this is my meadow. I think I'm going to do the ice cold in the ocean mist, and I just need to grab that chalk paste really quick. I have too many pastes out right now and too much craziness on my little rolling cart. So let me grab my ocean mist. Oops. Okay. Kind of like almost like an ice blue, if you will. Okay, so I want to open up my Bumblebee, and when you're using the paste packets, you want to massage them. I open them upside down. I push all the paste down into the color block area so that after I open this, I have the full color block intact, so it's easier for me to quickly see what color paste that is. And if you don't use all your paste out of one packet, which generally there really is a generous amount of paste in this packet, so I never use one pack. I never use an entire packet at one sitting. So I'm just cutting a little bit off the top or off the bottom because I'm using it upside down. I'm going to squeeze a bit into my color tray for me to use. And I'm probably going to use more of this as we go along. So let me get the rest of this squeezed out from the scooted up to the top. Get in there. And then what I generally do is I roll that portion up to seal it. So I've just kind of rolled it up. You can still see the color black on the other side, and of course I've got paste on my fingers now. Hold this in place. Oops. And then I'm going to grab some of our placement tape to seal it up. Clean this off my finger. Our placement tape is kind of like washi tape. You could use a clip on this if you want. You could use a paper clip, one of those little mini little tiny clips, binder clips if you want. Whatever is going to keep this closed and sealed. You want it to be airtight and ready for your next use. So bear in mind, you don't have to use everything in your paste packet at one time. And you can see there's quite a bit left in there. A little bit of paste goes a long way. Okay, so, and notice my transfer doesn't stick to my grid surface. This is our self-healing mat. It's great to use for working on and for cleaning your transfers. So I'm going to grab a little bit of paste here and do my, oops, turn this towards me, do my lemonade. using our small squeegee. Usually I use the mini. It's a larger area to work with, so I thought I'd use the small, but it's kind of funny because I'm so used to using the mini all the time that this feels a little awkward. So I'm just grabbing a little bit more paste, going over the silk screen or the white, what you're seeing the white surface through on my transfer. And you don't have to apply a lot of pressure. It's just basically sliding across the silk screen. I always say that if you could butter toast, you can chalk. It truly, truly is that easy. Even if you're a person who burns the toast like I do. So you just apply a light pressure. There's no pushing it through, really. You just go over it, let it go through the silk screen to the surface beneath it. You want to remove any lines or like clumps of paste that you might have left. Smooth it out. Remove the excess paste. You could put the excess paste back in your jar. Or in my case, back in my little color tray. Like I said, a little bit of paste goes a long way, but I've got some ideas for, I'll be using more of that later. And now I'm going to lift this up slowly and make sure that I've got everything covered. I don't have my overhead light on because it creates somewhat of a glare here, and of course I did miss an area. So I'm going to lift this slowly and make sure I didn't miss anything. Oops. As I go along. Because of course there I did miss it. I missed a little bit on the M. And a little bit on the O. Well, look at, I missed a little bit on all the letters. So I'm just going back over it. Now, a lot of our transfers have a distressed look to them. So if you do make a mistake, it's not always readily apparent because of the distressed look. So that gives you a little bit of leeway. Okay, I need to do my N a little bit better here. Get that. So anyway, yes, my lighting's poor, so I don't create much of a glare when I'm live, and unfortunately it doesn't help me to see if I've got good coverage or not. Let me lift from this end. Oh, I need a little bit here, but I think that'll be fine. Yep, looks good. So I'm going to set this aside to dry before I add something to it. And then I'm going to, where did I put my little rectangle? Continue with another piece. Okay, I know it's been a long day and it's been a challenging day in many, many ways, but I'm not finding my rectangle. Oh, here it is, right up against my little monitor, and I didn't see it. Okay, so this is my wax side, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to clean this yet. I'm going to use another portion of it on this little rectangle. And I'm going to line that up right here. Now remember, I've already fuzzed this transfer, so I don't really need to fuzz it again. I'm just using a different portion of it. And I'm going to come over here and use my Bumblebee chalk paste again. I'm going to switch to a smaller squeegee though, because I've got a little bit smaller of an area to get into. So I'm going to do this on this surface. I want to make sure my transfer's down snugly, that I don't have any air bubbles. And I'm going to use my Bumblebee for my lemons. Taking care not to get my leaf there, my lemon tree leaf. And then I'm going to actually get the little lemon slice also. And I'm just rotating my surface to get different angles to apply my paste. Oops. I'm going to lift this up and take a quick little look. Oh, that looks good. I just want to make sure I don't have any bumblebee near my leaf. Now I'm going to come back in here and do my lemon tree leaf with some meadow paste. And for this, because I'm close to my lemons, I'm going to use my multi-tool, which one end is great for stirring up your paste in the jar. This little hook part gets underneath the rim of the jar and helps you clean it up. And the other end acts kind of as a mini squeegee. So I'm going to grab a little bit of meadow paste and just chalk in this leaf. And I do apologize for going so late tonight. I could not get Facebook to work on my phone. I could not go to the Craft with Kathie page or even the VIP page. The menu wasn't available. I'm going to post the actual error message. And if anyone has any workarounds for this, I'd surely appreciate hearing them. This has come up quite a few times in the last couple weeks, usually during the day. I haven't run into it when I'm doing my lives, which has been good, but tonight I ran right into it. Couldn't get to the page to do the live, and I was at the point where I was ready to just record it and then post it later when I tried it and the menu was back. Ah, there's our little leaf. So there's our lemon slice with the leaf on the rectangle. Can you tell that I'm gearing up to put this on a tier tray with different pieces? Oh, I forgot. I was going to actually put the ice cold on here, wasn't I? I mentioned that I was doing it in the blue. I don't think this is quite dry. I'm going to let that set for a moment. Oh, let's see. On my tag, I think I'm going to go with freshly squeezed. Move this out of the way. Oops. Don't want to smear that. Let me put it aside to dry. And we'll go on to our third little surface here. And I'll do the freshly squeezed. And I think I'm going to use my meadow for the leaves. Well, I'm trying to think, do I want to use... I'm going to do the whole thing in meadow. The flowers will be a different color. But you can see the versatility of this transfer, how I can make 3 different objects or 3 different projects with one transfer, just using pieces of it to get the look that I want. So you could do it as it comes with instructions, PDF, and then also a link to a video. So you could do your project like I did last week in one piece, or you could then do it any way you want, like I'm doing now. Mix and match, whatever appeals to you. So I'm going to take care not to get the flowers on here with my meadow. Just going to take my time and use my little multi-tool to get into the tight areas. Grab a little more paste. Excuse me, little tickle in the throat. I think the leaves on, the flowers on lemon trees are actually white, but I think I'm going to make them a little pink because I'm on a white surface, so they wouldn't really show up. And then I'm going to lift this and take a little peek at it before I go on to the next color. Oh, I think that looks good. Nice, beautiful definition. I'm going to lay this down, clean up my squeegee, cover up my meadow so it doesn't dry out. Oh, I think the marvelous would be great as the little flower petals. And just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to use my detail tool, which has a little pointy thing, which is great for taking care of mistakes and whatever on one end. And the other end has even a smaller little squeegee on it. So I'm going to grab a little meadow paste and just catch these little blossoms. Now it is a little bit challenging with the detail tool to actually clean off and return that paste back to the jar because it's such a tiny surface that you're dealing with. But I think this will be fine. The little amount of paste that I'm going to waste is minuscule actually. But this lets me get into the tight areas without picking up any of that meadow. I want the petals to be kind of like barely there. I'm going to turn this a little bit so that I've got a better angle to chalk it. And then get these little tiny buds. Obviously you want to shake here not to accidentally put your finger down into any wet chalk paste. I'm going to come back over and do a little bit more on my flower blossoms. I'm just not really getting too close to the green. So I want to make sure that it all goes through the silk screen. Oops, get right up there, get the last of that silk screen covered. There we go. How sweet is that? Now let me go back to my large rectangle sign. I want to add my ice cold to it. Just going to line this up at the edge and see where the placement is with my word lemonade. Make sure I have it above it enough. No, I need to move it a little bit higher. So let me do that. Smooth it down, and now notice I'm not putting any pressure on anything that I've already chalked. And I'm going to get my ocean mist. And do my words that say ice cold. I'm taking care to avoid the frame because I really don't need the frame on this piece. Now if you make a mistake and you actually run your colors together, don't panic, just turn it into an ombre where it blends from one color to another. That's easy enough to do. Okay, I need a little bit. I missed the top of my eye here on ice cold. Now I think that needs a little something at the bottom. Like maybe it needs this little flower or something. Ooh, or maybe we just do refreshing and delicious. I think that'll work. I'll just add the refreshing and delicious here. And I think I'll do that in my ocean mist also. See how quick and easy this is? And I'm really just creating on the fly. I didn't give a lot of thought to the design of any of these other than I knew I wanted the word lemonade on the rectangle. So you have the opportunity to create on the fly. So we've got our rectangle with ice cold lemonade, refreshing and delicious. Our little tag that says freshly squeezed, and I think I'm going to add some wooden beads to this. And then we have this little rectangle, and I am going to color in this lemon, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me cover up my ocean mist. Move this over to dry and create a little bit more room here. And I need another little color tray, so I have this. Look at the little dab that I put in here, and I still have a lot left over. I am going to get, let's see what color this is, my sunny side paste, and just put a little bit of sunny side paste in here. It's a little bit lighter than the bumblebee. And I'm just going to take a little dab of it, put it in my tray. Maybe I'll take a little bit more than that. Oops, that's probably way too much. Put the excess back in. I'm going to thin this down with a little spritz of distilled water so that I can paint with it. I just want a teeny little bit of water in there, just a little bit to make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to grab a paintbrush and mix this up, and then I'm going to watercolor the sunny side on my lemon and fill in that area that the transfer did not cover. And the transfer is kind of like a highlight. Let me set this to set a little bit for that to thicken up a little bit. Let me clean my surface so I have a clean area to work on and I don't get paste on the back of my little square here that I'm going to be chalking. Now our simple shapes are very economical, and we have little a little tiny stand that they actually go into. Stands are about this wide with a little slot, and that's why I left so much space on the bottom here, so that after you're done with it you could actually put it in this little slot and stand it up. Let me just dry that. So I'm going to come in here with my little paintbrush and my diluted paste and come in here and watercolor in this highlighted area of the lemon. And I'm just dabbing it a little bit. You know, lemons have a bumpy texture, so it's fine. Trying to avoid the parts that are already done in the darker bumblebee. Watercoloring is a lot of fun. It reminds me of adult coloring books and using colored pencils. You just keep adding layers until you get the look you want. And if I accidentally went over some of this bumblebee, I could lay the transfer back down, of course after I cleaned it, and come on over here and come in with a darker color again. And I might actually do that. Let me add a little bit more paste here to color in this lemon. It'll still look highlighted. You know how lemons have different colors? That usually the skin isn't all one flat color. And maybe I might even take a dab of my bumblebee here so that I've got a little bit of a darker color, like a third color of yellow. Mix that with my sunny side. Oops, I'm just having a hard time scooping that up. And dab around the edges a little bit. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it needed there. I'm giving it a little bit of texture too. Okay, I'm going to quickly wash my transfer at my surface. Normally I would take it to the sink and run it under water. Real easy to clean our transfers, but I'm going to show you how to do it. You could pretend that I'm in the bottom of a sink here, but I'm actually going to use my surface. I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of water on the sticky side. And then turn it over. Ouch. Just pinched my finger there. Turn it over and wet the top part of it. Now, if I was doing this at the sink, obviously I wouldn't be using my spray bottle. I would just let the water run over it. Our paste is water soluble, so it makes cleanup very easy. And I'm going to use one of our board erasers that I've just cut in half. Yeah, I think I'm going to use a large piece because this is a large project. And I'm going to wet it and use it to clean my transfer. This makes cleaning your, you don't have to use this, but it does make cleaning your transfer so much quicker and easier. Watch how this works. Now my paste has been sitting on here for a while, and generally you want to clean your transfer as soon as possible and not let it sit with paste on it, because you don't want that paste to dry in the silk screen. But this board eraser is really good at cleaning it up. And I've got a little bit of dried paste in a couple areas here. I'm going to spritz it with some more water and let that kind of dissolve a little bit, because you want to make sure that you get all your paste out of the silk screen. And then flip it over and I'll do the reverse. I'm getting a little bit of staining of the pigment from the paste on my transfer. That's fine. The staining with the darker pigmented paste does not have any impact on your transfer. It's still, it's just not as pretty looking as it was when it was brand new, but it'll work just as it would if it wasn't stained. Okay, I am going to come in here with a disinfecting wipe and remove any remaining chalk paste before I turn it over and do the other side. Now there is the staining. Obviously the metal green is a darker pigmented or more heavily pigmented paste, so there is some staining, but that's fine. My transfer will be perfect to use again. It won't impact it at all. And now I'm going to clean the opposite side. Clean off the silk screen, the paste off the sticky side of the transfer with my disinfecting wipe. And I generally use a circular motion, and you can see once you're not picking up any more paste, then you know that it's clean. Grab another wipe. Lay this flat. Clean underneath it. Obviously, much easier to do at the sink. I used to use a little square kind of like bucket, but I don't have the surface area to have that out while I'm chalking because I'm on this little table. So I'm just doing it without it. But like I said, much easier to clean up at the sink. You don't have to necessarily use a disinfecting wipe. You don't necessarily have to use a board eraser. You could just use your fingers to massage the paste off of your transfer. Just if you're not sure if you've got all the paste out of the silk screen, hold it up to the light and see. Kind of like this. So you can see through it. Now, once I have the paste off, I go on my adhesive side with my disinfecting wipe, and I just wipe in one direction to remove the lint that I deliberately applied with my fuzzing cloth. And this renews the adhesiveness of it for the next time I want to use it. And because I'm going to use this right now, I'm going to speed dry it. And the easiest way to do that is to take your transfer, put it on your fuzzing cloth. One side is the terry that we use for the actual fuzzing, the other's like a microfiber. I'm going to put it on the microfiber side, sticky side up. Make sure you get that shiny sticky side up on it. Fold it over and gently squeeze out any moisture. This almost totally dries your transfer, so it speed dries it so you can use it again. And you could, I don't know if you can see it. See, it's already starting to stick. I'm going to set this aside for a moment while I clean up my surface a bit, and then come back and use that transfer to add the finishing touches to my lemon. This is still a little wet. You know, if you could see it, I should have brought my dryer out here. We have a quick dry tool that really makes short work of drying your chalk paste. It looks like a heat gun, but it actually is more like a cool dryer setting. Hi Deb, how you doing? And it's great for drying your surfaces quickly. You do not. You don't want to use the quick dry gun on your transfer. I mean, I suppose you could, but know that our transfers are vinyl and silkscreen, and you don't want to get too close to them with your heat gun or with a hairdryer or anything like that, because you can potentially melt the transfer. It's only thin vinyl. So I would suggest just being patient and letting that dry. So far, we've created this little rectangular sign that says ice cold lemonade, refreshing and delicious. Use the bumblebee chalk paste and the ocean mist for the wording. Creating this cute little tag with some of the marvelous for the flower blooms and the meadow for the wording. I'm going to add a jute string on here with some wooden beads. And guess what I'm going to do? How am I going to get my wooden beads to match my project? I am going to take my leftover bumblebee paste in this little tray, put it in a baggie or a Ziploc bag of your choice, whatever brand you like. Add a little spritz of water, mush it up a little bit to get it dissolved, kind of like I did to watercolor with here. And actually I could do two different baggies, do two different colors if I wanted. And then I'm going to throw my wooden beads in that baggie and just kind of roll them around, massage them, and then take them out, put them on a, I have, what are they called? A pipe cleaner. I've got some of those large, long pipe cleaners, craft pipe cleaners. Put them on the pipe cleaner to dry. They only take a few minutes to dry. And then I could string them on my jute or on my cording to make a little kind of like farmhouse bead with a tag attached to it. And all these are from the same Club Couture transfer. So like last week when I made the one frame with this design, that's fine. Today I'm parsing it apart and using pieces on 3 different surfaces. And these 3 different surfaces are going to be decor elements on my tiered tray. You knew I was going there, didn't ya? And I'm going to do a little video when I put the tiered tray together. I've got some cute little accents for it. My big decision right now is, do I want to go with any pink? When I did the first project with this last week, I did the word lemonade, and I think I used cranberry jam and white and lightened it up to do a nice little pink for like pink lemonade. But I think my tiered tray, I'm going to stick with the yellows and the green and just go with that. Or maybe I will put a little splash of pink on it here or there. I have to admit, working with this transfer makes me thirsty. Isn't that kind of funny? Okay, so I'm going to move this aside so that I can lay the transfer back down on my little square. I need to fuzz my transfer once again because remember, I've just washed it. So I need to fuzz it again. I really don't have to fuzz the whole thing if I don't want to. I'm just doing these little lemons. So I'm just kind of gonna fuzz this area. And then I'm gonna line this up on my surface and go over it with my bumblebee again. Just to put the outline over the area that I watercolored. So I'm just lining this up to match. I think this looks good. I'll lay it down, make sure I don't have any air bubbles. And I'm going to go over this with my bumblebee. Just have to, oops, I might not have enough in here to do my beads. We'll see. I watercolored using the Sunnyside yellow. I watercolored in the highlighted area of the lemon to give it a little bit different of a look. And I'm going back over with the bumblebee, which will redefine my outline. Okay. What do you think? And being that I watercolored it and kind of dabbed my paintbrush around, it has a little bit of a texture. Oops, and I realized I missed my slice down here a little bit, I think. I probably did when I did it before. I wonder if I could lay this down again and not hit my other lemon. See if I could fix it up. Okay, this looks like it's fine. I might be jumping the gun a little bit. Let me scoop up some more paste here. And catch the bottom here. I did miss it originally. Okay. How cute is that? And I'm going to put that on our little wooden stands on the tier tray. So let me get my transfer off of my surface again, clean it up a little bit, and show you all three projects. Of course, I have to get the paste off my fingers because you know me, chalky fingers. So we have our little square, our little tag, and our ice cold lemonade. I know I ran a little bit long tonight, but 3 different projects, and I was kind of creating on the fly, which makes it fun. So consider doing that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon.